In Parsha B'Shalach, we have a lot of interesting things that are going on in this Parsha, namely the spy mission and what happens after that, but I'm not going to concentrate on that today. What I'm going to look at is at a very strange part of the Parsha, actually. It's the seventh Aliyah, and it's on chapter 15, verse 32. And what happens is it says, Vayu b'nei Yisrael b'midbar. Bnei Israel were in the wilderness, and what happens? Vayimsu'u, and they found ish mekoshesh eitzim, a person who was collecting wood, b'yom Shabbat, on the Sabbath day. Now he's collecting wood, and so what happens is Rashi says that b'gnotan shel Yisrael diber katuv, that the Torah is speaking in the disgrace of the Jews. Why? Shlo shamru el Shabbat rishonah. They only observed the first Sabbath. In order by the second one, Bazeh, this one comes, Vechalala, and profane the Sabbath. The question is, how could he profane the Sabbath? Here you have Moses, who's a leader. You have everybody's doing, they experience God. They experience the Sarah, they brought the Ten Commandments, given at Har Sinai. They're called the Dora Dea, the generation of knowing God. So how can it be that this person, which, by the way, we're never told of his name, is breaking the Sabbath? And furthermore, why is he going to ultimately be killed? Because, as Rashi says, he was given a warning saying you should not be collecting the wood on the Sabbath, and he ignored the warning, and thus he would be killed for that. Fine. So the question is, besides him, they were in the desert for many years, in the wilderness for 38 more years after this. Do you mean to tell me that they never kept another Sabbath after that? Really, what's going on here? So I asked the question. Somebody told me that Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky answered in a very interesting way. That while, yes, they did keep the Sabbath, but they didn't keep it for the right reason. Which is interesting when you think about that. What is the reasons that we keep Jewish law? Or if we don't, sometimes we just ignore it and we just bear the consequences of that, as this person did. But there's really three reasons that we can observe the law. One is because of the fear. We have Yer Shamayim, we're afraid of God in a negative way. We think that if we don't do it, we will be punished. So that's really lo shma. That's really not for the sake of God, not for the sake of the commandments that we're doing it. And but we do it. And so you can't kill us for it, but we're not accomplishing what God set out to have us do when he gave us the mitzvah. That's, again, following Rav Yaakov's words, it wouldn't work that way. The second reason is because you want reward. I follow Jewish law because there's a lot of rewards with following Jewish law. If I give tzedakah, if I give the proper amount of tzedakah, so then Hashem is going to give it back to me, as it were. I'll never go poor. And also with other mitzvot, you get long life. You put a mezuzah up, you get long life, so on and so forth. The problem, of course, with that is sometimes it doesn't work, and so you may want to say these magical things don't work. Fine, and then you'll walk away from death, which is why it's not always, hardly ever a good reason to do something for the want of reward, which is why it says in Pirkei Avot that Antigonus Isochov said you should never do it for the sake of reward, you should rather do it because the Lord commanded it, or because the boss commanded it, as he's put in Pirkei Avot. But the real reason that we should follow the halacha and follow the Torah is because of Ahavas Hashem. Because we have a tremendous love of God, which would go, by the way, into Yirat Shamayim, because it could also mean awe of God. I have reverence for God. But love of God is the ultimate thing we're shooting for. So if I have a love of God, and now I'm going to do the mitzvot because I understand that Hashem gave it to us, so that we'll develop properly, now I'm not going to do anything that's wrong because I don't want to, not because of fear of God punishing me, because why would I want to do something against a person that I love and I know is only doing this for my good? So therefore, that's what Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky was bringing us to, that we have to do all the mitzvot for that reason. Out of Ahavas Hashem, and once we have this God, once we love Hashem so much, there will be no way we can break it. And that, of course, will bring Mashiach and Hashem Everybody should have a good Shabbos. Bye-bye.